guys, welcome back to the Leena Guiger show, hosted at the Milkcake Man. And today we have Kaljit Atwal.
Hello, everyone.
She is a freestyler footballer and a freelancer too, right?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so welcome to the Milkcake Man.
Well, thanks for having me.
It's okay. Thank you for coming. What can I get you off the menu? Or have you already had a look at it?
I've had a look at it, and I think I'm going to go for the matcha rolls. That sounds great.
And that's a new one as well.
Is
it's
it?
A new one. It's a new one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to have a coffee, just bog standard coffee.
Americano.
Just an Americano.
Okay,
and you get I'm going to get a milkcake.
Okay, I'm going to go for the taco pancakes Nutella.
Sweets.
It is sweet, hopefully. That's what I'm going to be eating all this time.
No
man.
pun intended. Okay, we'll get this. We'll cut to that. That's for us. There you go. Okay, so this is the Spanish latte cake. The one that I was talking about. So this one's new as well. So there's quite a few new things on the menu, but these are the tacos. You can use a plate and knife and fork. Some people just take the hands.
I haven't picked a very messy.
Yeah, you picked nobody else has picked a messy one yet, but we'll see how it goes.
I'll teach you guys how to eat this. Okay, you'll be all right.
Okay, so I know that you're a freestyler footballer, right?
Yep.
Tell me a bit about that. How did you get into that?
The freestyle football is, I've always been into football. So that's been like a passion of mine, something I've loved. I did anything football related since I was like 2 years old. My parents used to tell me I used to watch football on the TV with my dad all the time. So then I've gone to this whole career of playing 11-a-side at the age of 16, moved to America and stuff. But
I saw that.
So it all started generating from that. But then freestyle football came about when I was burnt out from football. And I thought, do I just quit? Do I just not play anymore?
What do you mean burnt out by football?
I think I went through a whole phase of growing up. I played street football. And I loved playing with the boys in the park or at a leisure centre by a high school. We just played football all day long, like on the weekends, after school. And I just loved that element of it, the freedom side of football. And then when I was 16, my PE teacher was like, you need to start playing 11-side, taking this serious, playing with girls. And I was like, okay. And I joined.
I didn't even know that existed. Sorry,
I
sound
didn't.
very.
She needed to
so
push me.
I'm not stupid.
No,
okay,
no, I had no idea it existed. And my parents were like, they never said don't play football, but they didn't have this knowledge either. They didn't know what team, what to do with it. So fair play to them for actually being like, just carry on playing, figure it out. And I did, and my PE teacher really helped me out with it. And then I joined a Sunday league team, and then she was like, okay, what are you doing next? When I was 18, and I was like, well, I've joined the Sunday league team, like I've made it now. Like, well, what more do you want? And then she was like, no, you need to do something else. And that's when the American trials came about. And then I moved to America for a football scholarship. And then it was like the opposite side of football. Instead of like this free element and just having fun, it was fun, but it was strict and it was discipline and it was 11-a-side, which I think I really needed because I didn't have any of that.
Because a lot of it was just free. It wasn't discipline.
I was a very free, creative type of person, and I think that discipline really helped me to understand how to build on something and that commitment values and stuff. But then it got to a point where I didn't find a balance and I got burnt out. And I was pushing too hard for something that I didn't know if I really wanted or not. And that's when the freestyle came back in when I met a person at a gym. And he's done it for like 10 years and he's professional. And I was like, well, why is the universe like making me meet this random guy, right? So I was just like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm doing freestyle football. And I was like, and the first thing I thought when he was doing all these skills was like, I would do that differently. Like he had of these like crazy skills. And I was like, what he's doing is amazing. But I think I can put a different spin to it. Yeah. And I got obsessed with it ever since. And then lockdown happened, so it was like...
that's where I first saw you. So I remember seeing your videos during lockdown, and I was like, whoa. And for me, not from the football generation at all. Like, I couldn't tell you anything about football until I met my husband. Okay. Like, growing up, never watched football in the house. My dad was very strict. It was either cricket. Football didn't exist.
Oh, I couldn't get into cricket.
I don't think I ever was into cricket, but until I met my husband, I didn't know... I actually didn't understand why people are obsessed with it.
Cricket?
No, football.
Oh, I was like,
he's like a hard, like he loves Arsenal. Like if they lose a game, everybody's having a bad day. Everybody's having a bad day.
It's something you just can't explain, but I think that's why it's a universal like language in a way. Yeah. It is a universal language.
And no matter where he goes, he can talk to anyone as long as it's about football.
Yeah. And I do that all the time, like especially like, for example, some of my videos might be playing with people on the streets and megging them and doing the panda stuff, and I did that in Paris. And I remember one of the guys, he just didn't speak any English and I didn't speak French. No way. So I was like, all right, so this is the concept. He's like, yeah, I get it. And then we just played for like 10 minutes and we were like communicating and having fun. It was good energy. And I was like, this is what I love about football. You bring people together.
But, okay, so for someone like me, I've never come from that world, don't understand it. I kid you not, I've only learned about it in the past 2 years. Yeah. Which is why I wanted you on. For me, I could not comprehend it, right? But for someone like you, you're so passionate about it. Like you've literally just turned it into your life.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, again, with my husband, he's super passionate about it. I don't see a lot of, maybe because I'm not into this whole part of it, but I don't see a lot of females in there. I know that they have female football teams. I know that they exist. But how do you cope knowing that it's a very, very male-dominated place or world almost?
I think it is a very male. I think for me, growing up, it must have been like Benny like Beckham.
I did want to bring that in, but I don't want to be cliche.
I'm going to have to bring it up because I think that's how I dealt with it from, I think, maybe a woman's perspective, because I didn't see women footballers on TV. And don't get me wrong, now, like, the England women's squad just won the Euros. Yes, they smashed it. They got the World Cup coming up. They got the World Cup coming up next year, and they're going to do great in the tournament. Like, I'll be supporting them every way. But I think with seeing the exposure now, obviously as a kid, I didn't see that. Yeah. So right now, little kids can, like, boys, girls, whoever can, or whoever loves football can put BBC One on, and the girls will be playing. But as a kid, I only had like Ben and like Beckham. And for me, remember when you were a kid and you were watching like wrestling or something, you thought it was real?
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know it was
so
fake.
Why would Ben and like Beckham be fake?
True.
So I was watching it and I was thinking in my head like, wait, I had two perspectives from it. I had first, okay, this girl is legit living my life. Like, she's playing street football, she's playing in the park. I didn't really have that family trauma, like where the mom and dad were stopping her. Like, my parents were like, go play, do your thing. But the other perspective I had growing up, I remember I was watching in Germany because I was born in Germany, and I was watching it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was born in Germany. I was watching it, and I was thinking, somebody made a film about this. So there was a cast. Grinda Chandra thought about it. I didn't know who it was who was creating the film. And then I was thinking, I'm not the only one who thinks that it's normal for a girl to play football. Yeah. So she created this whole film from it, and then the amount of success it got, it even fueled it more like, so I'm not the only one who thinks like this. Yeah. So it should be a norm. It's just back then, marketing schemes.
And you got to remember, that was like, what, 15 years ago?
I think. So no, 20 years anniversary.
Oh, no, wait, it's okay, about 20. You would know. Okay, so if you think 20 years ago, these things weren't exposed to us. We didn't see them. They weren't, like, you couldn't just take them, or you couldn't go and, for example, 11-a-side? You couldn't just go and join those things. But now, I feel like there's so many opportunities for young females, ethnic females, to go into those different avenues. Yep. And for me, personally, it's sports. Like you said, you've got a very encouraging family. Some people don't have that. So for me, if I went home, I know for a fact that if I said, okay, I'm going to become a basketballer, guys, they would just look at me and be like, shut up. Yeah. Like, be serious. Like, who's going to marry as a basketballer? How are you going to turn that into a career? How are you going to make money from it? I think that is the biggest thing. How will you survive off this career?
I think that's a valid point. I think how will you survive? I think that's a valid point. Who's going to marry you, I think, is not a valid point. And I think my parents have never, ever thought, don't be a footballer because no one's going to marry you. I feel
like men are attracted to that.
If they are, great. If they're not, that's great too. But then that's a great filter to go through anyway, because I don't want to be with someone who then says you need to be an accountant and let's make an empire off that. Like if you love accountancy and you're passionate about it, do you. I do actually like numbers, but not like that, and I'm not going to build a career on it. So.
And I feel like a lot of people don't actually channel their dreams. No. Like, for you, I'm so happy that something that you've done as a child, you've taken the passion into your adulthood and you're creating something out of it. Majority of the people will have a dream, hit their 20s, and then just do the mundane job.
I think growing up, that was another fuel maybe that pushed me, is because I never was the only Indian playing. I think, especially from the background I'm from, like Smethwick's such a diverse area. Everyone who I was playing with was from a different background. I never saw it as a kid like, oh, I'm Indian, I'll never make it. For me, it was like, oh, I never saw a woman on the screen. That was the biggest thing. So
that was a fuel for you.
Yeah, and I was just like, well, we all love the sport, and why wouldn't I just carry on playing? And that was a kid mentality. And as I grew older, I think adult perspective does come into it. And maybe it could have been borderline imposter syndrome, maybe in America, like being the only Indian doing it. I was like,
talk to me about America then. So did you go like during university?
Yeah, university.
Okay, sweet. So what were you studying?
I picked sports science. So I picked sports science as a bachelor's degree in America, and then I came back to do my master's at University of Nottingham.
Did you find it different being in America and here? Like
for the football, yeah. Because the football here, I was playing it more like mundane, fun, chill, like very having fun.
Just be on the streets. I'm out with my football guys.
You use your bags as goals, and then that's it. Like
that's so sick. I wish I was in football ball, guys.
I remember we had like those speakers, and you had like a cup, and then we like, you know, a normal phone, like the old Nokia phones. We used to put the Nokia phone in the speaker. I mean, in the cups to make it a speaker. And then we used to put that on the side, and that would be music during the games and stuff.
That's so sick. You said you needed all these things as kids.
Right, you used to just use your imagination. And then obviously America was the opposite. It was like 6 a.m. training to 3 p.m. in the afternoon. In between, then you go to lectures. Then you got like 2 games a week.
No way.
Yeah, so it was like, I definitely needed that other side, and it was an amazing experience. I would not change any of it.
How old were you when you went out to the States?
18.
You were 18? Mm-hmm. Okay, so at the age of 18, you had a real like reality shock of, this is what I should be doing. Is it the discipline side that you felt like you needed?
No, I didn't know I needed that until I went through it, and I was like, oh, bloody hell, like
this is what footballers must be doing.
This is why this is the career bit, and I was like, oh my God, like fitness tests, all of this, and it's a great, because it's a great reality check, but it's also like you're still playing football, so it's fun.
Yeah.
So I never saw fitness as a chore, like, oh, I have to run today, or I have to go to university today. Like, football provided all these things, and it kept me fit, and my mental health was great because of football. And then it got to, like, I think towards the end of the 4 years, it got to, okay, I just don't want to keep doing the same schedule and playing 11-a-side games and figuring out what the opposite team's going to do and how do I complement, like how do I play against them. Like all of that part was boring to me. And then the training, when you just try to keep the ball away or 5-a-side, like my eyes lit up and it was the most fun thing ever. So
that's amazing.
I love football from a different perspective.
That's good. And I feel like sometimes, like you just said, like you didn't want to do it forever. Like it's the idea of becoming stagnant. Mm-hmm. You're in this one position for so long, and the brain, and as humans, we need to change and we need to evolve and we need to grow. So I feel like for you, that has happened over time in such a beautiful way, coming from the States, coming back during lockdown. And I feel like a lot of things did happen in lockdown.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's try some of this.
Okay, let's do it. I'm so excited.
So I got the milk cake. You're going to have to like just
I'm going to just have to like, I like these plates though.
Oh, thank you. I didn't pick them.
Did you not?
No. I'm not the creative.
Own it, man. Okay, so how... Should I just eat like that?
You can. Okay, so it's a taco, so you're supposed to pick it up and eat it.
And is that just extra Nutella to put on top?
That's just extra Nutella that you drizzle on top.
Should I just like risk it right now?
Just shot it back.
Actually, we'll be sensible.
It's right, we can cut it out.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to eat it my way. I'm going to open that up, drizzle it on top.
I thought she was going to eat it like a roti for a second.
No, like...
I thought you should rip it out.
I shouldn't. That'd be great marketing. Okay, I'm going to just eat it like...
Okay, let me know what you think. Are you going to take the nice way?
Yeah, I'm going to have to. Oh, is that? Bad timing to ask.
Cream cheese. That is the best thing that I've tasted. Not this. Well, this is also the best thing I've tasted, but the cream cheese.
Is it? Okay, I've never...
I got the Spanish latte cake, and it tastes like the original iced latte.
No, that's amazing.
It's the cream cheese for me. It just tastes so good.
But with the Nutella, though. Ooh, Nutella reminds me of Germany.
I'm glad you're enjoying the Nutella.
No, but the Nutella, legit, it's not even like, I can't even explain like how like fluffy the pancake is, and I'm not even making this up. You know when you go to like...
We didn't pay her, guys.
No, she didn't.
Get your tenner afterwards.
Okay.
One thing I want to focus on is a lot of South Asian families, right? How did your South Asian family or your family, come from Indian background, support you in the career or in what it is that you wanted to do?
I feel like they've built they laid the foundations for me. So for me, my parents never stopped me from playing out. Don't get me wrong, when I was a kid and stuff, my dad used to be like, why are you always playing outside, man? Like, chill and like stay home. And I'm like, all right. Yeah, and I used to like tie my shoelaces like, bye, dad. And then just go. But from a serious point of view, they've never, every time I had like a massive life decision to make, they never gave their input in the sense of like, do this, do that.
That's so good.
Their response has always been the same. It's like, well, what do you think you should do? And it's like, come on, man, I'm asking you, my mom, my dad. Like, yeah, like, I need something here. Like, give me something. And then my mom's like, no, but what do you want to do? And then my dad says it too. And then they always say this line, well, it's up to you. It's up to you. And I was like, oh, like.
See, one thing that I remember, like, for us guys is, you got to remember, technically would be like, what, the second generation? So the first generation, if they migrate from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, they wouldn't have that knowledge of, okay, one, how do I enroll my child to school? Yep. Two, let alone trying to put them to a Lebanon side or a good college or a good university. Like they wouldn't have that education unless they were like the second generation and their families had migrated in.
Yep.
So having that support, or even them saying, okay, you know what can we do for you, as in how can we better your education or how can we better your choices almost, is so nice to hear. Because a lot of families don't have that because they don't have the education behind it.
Yeah.
If you haven't had that growing up, what would your advice be to someone that may have?
Don't be blindsided and think, okay, I'm gonna be an Instagram influencer. I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be that. Like, you have to have a plan, whatever you do.
Yeah.
So I think one thing that I kept saying my parents are carefree and they didn't care, but they knew what I was. They knew I had a plan.
Yeah.
And they said, you know what, football's paying for your education. Why would you not do it? They said football's paying for your masters. Why would you not do it?
And so all of these were these funded from?
Yeah, from football,
sweet. Okay,
right?
Amazing.
So it was like, for them, it was like, well, yeah, just get the education. That's your backup. And I was like, that's a complete valid point, because they never had an education, so I wanted to pursue that.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have that support system, it's like, I can understand, it's like another barrier that you just don't need to face, but you unfortunately have to face. And I think the best thing to do is just have that end goal in mind, because as cliche it sounds, like you really truly only live one life, and you may think you have all this burden and you have to pursue all this like pressure from your family, but I feel like the universe has no accidents, and however it plans out, it plans out. Yeah, like that's how I see it. That's a legit how I see it. And it's such a cliche and broad answer, but I have to give one because I've never been in that situation. And I think even in that situation, there's so many different stories.
Yeah, and there's so many different elements of it. Like you said, I feel like your mindset and your attitude and how you are with the universe, it always gives it back. So if there's something you want, manifesting it will come.
Yeah.
Ultimately, and if it is a family that's a barrier, or let's say South Asian families is as a barrier, I feel like if you really truly want something, you will get it no matter what. But it all has to start with you. So you can't say, oh, well, you know, I think I want to do this, but my family isn't supporting me. You have to put the energy out there. You have to say, okay, you know, it's me versus me. I'm the one that's going to put it out there. I need to do it for myself.
Yeah.
So I feel like if someone was struggling with this type of situation, it has to come from them. It has to be within.
100%. I think being South Asian also has it's never an excuse to not make it. And I think, being South Asian, you might have to work 10 times harder. And I feel like sometimes I do. Like in anything that I do, I'm like,
I feel like it's embedded in us.
It really is. Like, maybe that's a great thing we learned from our like my parents' generation.
You have to work hard.
You have to work hard. My grandparents worked extremely hard. But for me, it's like, if there's no room, like I will work 10 times and I will force that room.
And I feel like it makes us more resilient. Like we are so much more resilient because we know, okay, well, if it's not like that easy for us to get, we will make sure we get it. We will work hard. We will do whatever we need to do, because we're just grafters at the end of the day.
Yeah, and it's graft with a plan. That's what I would have to say, though. Don't just go crazy into hustle mode. But
burn yourself out.
Yeah, have a plan in mind and just work on it and stick to it. And whatever comes, just keep being a bulldozer and push through it.
I do agree with planning. Like, I feel like you can't go into something blindsided. You have to have, whether it's just you writing something down, an idea of a small plan, but you know where your end goal is, because things will just happen in the way. Like you said, you met that guy at the gym, right?
Yeah.
Your plan was ultimately football, but meeting people along the way.
So also like flexibility then. Yeah. Plan with flexibility, I guess, right?
You heard it here first. Plan with flexibility.
I could have gone into that and I thought, oh, well, what you're doing is nothing I would ever do, so let me walk out. But then I was like, let me just try it. I think you've got to be flexible and not have like tunnel vision with anything you do.
True. I feel like you've got to be open with things. So. Talk about flexibility. Your Instagram post. So how do you stay so creative with your football and your ideas and the videos that you create?
I think the creative side is what I love about the freestyle. So I think sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to say like every day I wake up and there's a brand new idea in my head. Like it does get to the point where I'm like, oh, what should I do today? Like, and you kind of need to reset a little bit. But for me, I love just creating with football, and sometimes it's pre-planned and I think, okay, you know what, I could do this, that would be cool. And then sometimes I listen to a song, and then when I listen to the song,
you start moving.
No, oh yeah, start bopping it. But like, no, but then I'm thinking, hang on, this would be cool with the football. So my creativity always comes from music. Like I have to listen to a song and then it'll work that. And then sometimes I actually create a random video and then I put a song on top of it. And then
how often do you have to create videos for your page, or how often do you have to?
So I was really bad with social media because I just didn't use it at all. And after COVID, so I think during COVID, all I did is train. I didn't use social media at all. So I'm like, I'm just going to focus on my skills. It's got nothing to do with the world. I'm just playing football. And then I think after COVID, I think it was before the second lockdown, I started posting videos.
Okay.
And it was like once a month or something. It was so bad. And I was like, all right, let me just
Because you're very active now. Like, I see your videos
yeah,
post up
now
all the
it's
time.
the opposite.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I set a target in 2022 where I said I'm going to post 2 videos or 2 posts a week.
Okay.
So I was like, mini steps. Let's do this. And then...
Planned with flexibility.
right, so I was like, 2 posts minimum a week. You got this. And so this week's the last week, so I got 2 posts coming up. That was my mindset.
Yeah.
So that's what I was working towards. And now, how I keep up with it, now let's see what happens in 2023, but I want to change it a bit more to experience-based rather than just pushing videos for the sake of pushing videos. I just want to make it, okay, cool, like I'm doing this here, what can I make a video from this?
Oh, sweet. Okay, so like experiences like wherever you are at that time.
Yeah, and obviously still keep the football stuff because I love doing that, and then just come up with random stuff, hopefully with new music coming out.
Sweet. Sounds like a music drop.
I know, right? Freely's coming soon.
I just actually asked, who do you support?
Like football?
Yeah.
Man United.
Oh, okay.
Massive Manchester United fan.
Who's your favourite footballer?
Of all time, it is Cristiano Ronaldo. Okay. Yeah, I think his discipline and hard work, I think, is really inspirational.
Yeah, I did read something once, like his metabolical age is something ridiculous.
It's crazy. And he's got like less fat than a supermodel. Yeah. Like that guy like legit grafts, and you can see in his interviews and stuff. And I think that's what's most inspiring for me. I'm not into all that like who's the GOAT, who's the greatest of all time. It's like who actually made the impact of me playing football.
That's insane. What would be your future aspirations with football?
I think I always kept the same mentality as a kid, and it was I want to make football my career. And I always said that. So I remember in school, even teachers being like, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, something with football. And they were like, so like a professional football. And I was like, maybe like something with football though.
But I feel like people don't have that education. Like, it sounds ignorant, but people don't have the education of what you could possibly venture into.
And you don't want to plan with it either.
Yeah.
Though. So then, even though we said just plan, but like you don't want to be like,
crap that.
It has to, it has to be this. Like no, like it's something with football. And then what will happen in 10 years? Like I couldn't even tell you.
But I feel like right now we're in such a diverse time that the jobs that we have now didn't exist 10, 15 years ago.
That's why I keep very an open mind as well, because things are changing way too quick.
Which is crazy. Like, who knew that right now you could be making money off videos or advertisements off videos?
It's the new marketing, isn't it? So
it's insane.
How is marketing going to shift in 10 years? So why would I have a career plan when something's not even created yet? So
you could be the one to create it. We talked about this earlier.
Honestly, I think for me, it's like maybe football will help me get into like I really like combining like football, fashion, and music.
Okay.
I think in a video,
That's
those
so unique.
three elements in a video, I think are really cool because when you're doing freestyle tricks, what you wear, I feel like highlights the video. And music, then everyone has such a different taste in music, and I think that will add to the video and show another part of your personality.
Yeah.
So maybe when I'm older, I might do something with cameras. I might do something like
use Axe visuals. You'll help you out.
Thank you. So it's all like different elements. So I don't know. Like I'm just very open-minded to.
That's good. I feel like you just said, you have to have that open mind. Definitely thinking where we're going in the future. My final question, and I think this is a big one and a big achievement for you: the Pepsi advert.
Yeah.
I saw you on that and I was like, what?
I
was so gassed for you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. But you met Ronaldinho, like, how was that for you?
The fact that like I did a shoot with Ronaldinho was really cool, but the fact that I got to meg him, I think that just adds like a little cherry on top.
But people don't get to that in their lifetime.
No, I think that
people
was
don't get to see him in a lifetime.
I don't think I really processed it until I was at the shoot. So I took my brother with me and we were...
Talk me through the shoot. What happened? How did it, like...
It was all different elements. I had to do a few TikTok things. So I was doing that first, and then they were like, okay, now your scene with Ronaldinho is going to come up, and they had it all scripted.
Okay, so
I
you knew
what,
beforehand.
Yeah, I knew what I was doing. They were like, you and Ronaldinho are going to do this specific scene. And obviously me being there thinking, right, don't fangirl. Like, yes, he's your top 3 footballers for me all time is Cristiano Ronaldo, then it's Zinedine Zidane, and then it's Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
So those 3 have no order, but them 3 have like,
high ranks up there.
Yeah, high ranks for me as
I'm not into football, and even I know the high ranks up there, guys.
Yeah, when I told my friends about it, they even knew who he was. So I was like, yeah, he's a goal.
He's a legend.
Yeah. So
I know that like through FIFA and stuff. I don't play it all, but I know it.
I do, I'm not going to lie. So then I thought, just
I
chill.
opened those packs.
I was like, chill, just see what happens. And I think that shoot really helped me deal with the imposter syndrome that I didn't realize I had until I was at the shoot. And it was that concept of like, Indians are not meant to be here. South Asians are not meant to be doing this, right?
That's
because
crazy.
No one's done it before. Like, no one's doing football as a creative freestyle job. So I was like, I shouldn't be here. And I remember just eating lunch with my brother before it happened. And then I was like, well, we're eating
You're
lunch.
making this
yeah,
happen.
and I was like, we're eating lunch, we're just chilling, talking about football, and I was thinking like, I don't really feel out of place. So why would I feel out of place when I then meet Ronaldinho and do the work I'm supposed to do?
But you've worked so hard to get there. It's like the universe listening to you, right? But like you just said, what is an Indian girl doing here?
Right, it did come across, and then
you're creating those opportunities for yourself.
And I needed to see that by having that opportunity, I think. And then when I met him, I was like, well, just bloody own it at this point. Because I was like, you definitely belong
made
here.
my seat at this table.
I was like, I'm not going to be like, oh, you know what, it's that concept, and I always say it like, I don't care that South Asia might not work in a marketing scheme for society. That's what it basically is. So should I stop doing what I'm doing just because I don't fit a marketing thing?
Yeah.
No, like I'm not gonna do that.
Like we're in such a new generation now.
So like, why would I ever think, oh, what I'm doing it doesn't belong to this world? And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna like push in. Like, hello, I'm over here.
Yes, I made myself here, guys.
Yeah, and then I have no idea what's gonna happen.
Oh, that's just made
next.
me so happy, Kaljit. Thank you so much for saying
I
that.
just
We don't
know.
talk about that enough.
No, and I just I don't know what's gonna happen next either. Like that's the good and bad side about freelance.
Okay,
you don't know what's coming up.
Yeah.
But I just remember being in that moment, like I don't care what's coming up. I don't care who has done this, who hasn't done it.
How did that even come up? Like
Instagram.
Insane. That's crazy.
Doing my thing, enjoying it, and then opportunities came up.
That's amazing. And I feel like you said, that imposter syndrome, this idea of not believing how good you are at something until you have a reality check. You're like, whoa, look where I am. Look what I'm doing. I need to just believe.
A lot of people, like, I don't feel like we celebrate like achievements a lot.
We don't.
And I think it could be from achievement from doing a Pepsi
smallest
shoot
thing. Yeah.
with Ronaldinho to like working out 4 times a week because I said I'm going to do that, to picking a book up and reading a page because he said you're going to read a page. I think we just do because we're told to do rather than just
doing because we want to do it.
Experience it.
We have to listen to our body as well.
Yeah.
Like you said, like fitness, looking after ourselves, it's a part of life. Like we need to do it for our own self. Like if you lost your arm or you're struggling with your health, you're not going to be able to get the best value of life almost. So I think we do take our bodies and stuff for granted.
And I think that's a huge thing in the South Asian community as well, like exercise and mental health, and
it's not talked to.
It's not spoken about at all. In our generation, I think it's changing, but I think even little things like everyone's like, well, why did you do sports science with your degree? And I was like, because the benefits of exercise are unreal. And I will always say this, if it's like hot yoga, if it's going for a walk, if it's freestyling with a football, like your movement is such an important thing, and I think it's just not spoken about at all in the South Asian community.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that, and I feel like even if you try, like, there's times I say to my mom, like, okay, come on, let's go gym, and she's like, oh, but I don't feel like doing it. Yeah. Oh my, this is hurting. I'm like, but if we did it, it'd stop hurting.
Yeah. But it's just like but then let's say you're ill, there's 10,000 remedies for how to solve that.
And they found it from someone on WhatsApp. I'm like, what?
But it's like this whole deep cultured thing. And I'm like, that's so cool. And I'm always using like remedies my parents have taught me. But like, why has exercise not never been number one priority in this remedy stuff? So I think it's like, it's keeping those old values. And like,
you got to keep those roots.
Yeah, you got to keep the roots. And I think we all got those roots, and now it's just like, you know what? There's change a little bit.
And I feel like it is literally just a small change in your lifestyle.
It's a small change.
Like you said, taking a walk, going to the gym, going to the park, whatever it is, something for your mental health. Because we're in a generation where we do burn ourselves out, and I think with social media, we feel the need to
you can never switch off.
Especially when you're like, for example, you're a freelancer, right? So you're doing everything, your admin, marketing, everything you're doing by yourself, right? And I feel like it is a burnout. And I think with social media, we feel the need to we have this pressure that we have to do this and we have to do that. And if it's not met by this time, then I'm failing at life. But we're not. These are all self-inflicted pressures that we put on ourselves. So I would say that, like, step by step, and I think if we're stripping that back a bit, the idea of taking it slowly, understanding where we're going, but also not being disconnected with our roots. Because I feel like we're very quick to be, oh, South Asians, but like, I love my culture. Like, I love it. So it's a part of me, do you know what I mean? But there are things that I do want to change in this generation for the best.
Definitely. I completely agree. And I think with the social media part first, like when you take a week off or something, you realize how much you were actually like in it. And then you can take a week off and be like, whoa, it's not that big of a deal. Just chill.
And how absorbed you are.
Yeah, and life still goes on even if you don't post or if you don't do something. But combining the culture element on social media with freestyle, all of these different things, because I never like to like be like, I am Indian and I am with the football. Like, I don't, like, why I do have to make that statement, right?
It's so
like,
true. I'm female and I play with football.
And I have brown skin. Like, here you go. Like, why do I have to announce that?
It's crazy, yeah.
So for me, it's like...
But I take that in a positive way, that there's so many young brown girls that will see your story or see you and think, wow, if she can do it, I can do it.
Definitely. And I think seeing is believing in it. I know it's like everyone says that, but it really is a massive thing. And I cannot wait for the first South Asian girl to step out and play for England and do her thing or smash it in the top leagues, or he smashes it in the top leagues. Like, I cannot wait. But I think the thing is, like, the Asian community, like, they push when one person gets through.
Yeah.
But then, like, don't hype it up once they made it. Like, you gotta push them through the process.
You gotta keep the support all the way through.
I think how you can do that, there's so many things that we don't, like, for example, my parents didn't have the knowledge of teams.
Yeah.
Times have changed. So if I go into a school right now, how does it work? Like, the amount of DMs I've got from parents saying, my kid plays football, what can she do? And then I feel bad because I'm like, well, I play street football, so I still don't know the route.
Would you never create academy?
Right, so I think, so now then I had to sit down with my friend who's a professional footballer. She's like, mate, how did you make it? Like, what was your route? So then I had to
try to find someone else's advice.
So I was like, give me a minute. I had to go ask her, and she was like, so you play for an academy, or you find a Sunday league team, then you go to the academies, go to the scouting, and then they put you in the academy, and then you push through, and then it evolves from that.
So it's so much hard work. Like,
it is a graft.
Again, I've only recently learned this, that there is younger teams, and that, let's say, for example, Liverpool will have smaller teams that have like 12-year-olds and they channel through. I didn't know any of this.
So I knew concepts of it, but like, I just, as a kid, I didn't care. Like, I was like, whatever. And then when I had those DMs, I was like, well, I'm not gonna not help the girl like, but we need these questions that the parents had are just super valid, and I think that's where it starts. Like, we know the problem is there's not enough South Asians in the game. So what's the solutions? And I think for it is educate, like, tell the parents, okay, this is the route. Sit them down and be like, so this is how your kid can be pushed in football. And here are the options when they're 18. They could either like end up signing a professional contract, they can go to America with it, they can do all these different things, but then that's the parents. But then it's also targeting the deprived areas who are neglected, and especially, like, for example, in my school, my PE teacher did everything for us.
Yeah.
Well, how do we then go into those areas? And I think that's grassroots football, creating more teams around those areas. And I think all of these things are the solution-based things that we need to talk about. And then how do we imply that to the Asian community, especially the ones that, like, my parents were working, like, my dad was working 12-hour shifts, my mom had 2 jobs. Like, when were they going to take me to the game?
True.
So then it all ended up falling in place when my dad's reduced his hours, so he could take me on Wednesday training. My mom could take me on the weekends to the games. That's
nice to know that they actively took part in that, and they were 100%. Like, okay, no, we're going to take my child. And that too, I always feel like it's always the men or the boys of the family, whereas it's so nice to hear that you were a young female and your dad and your mom were so supportive. Like, no, we're going to take you to a football game. Because when you, maybe me, but when you think about football, it's very stereotyped. Oh, men. It's a very male-dominated game. But it's so nice to hear that from a young age you were pushed into that.
Yeah, and I think it was with even my brother, like, we just played football all the time, and I don't think my mom ever thought, my mom and my dad have never said, like, your brother can do that and you can't.
That's good.
They've never done that now. And my brother's also been like...
this is the outcome.
Yeah, honestly, and then my brother's always been like, don't get me wrong, we're super competitive with football.
Yeah.
Like, I am better than him, but he won't admit it, and he thinks he's better than me. So we have that drive and comparison, but he's never said, like, don't play, you're a girl. Yeah. When he played in the park, he dragged me with him to play with the boys.
That's so sick.
So I think it starts young, and it might be little things. It's like, get your daughter an Arsenal top with a name at the back. That's huge.
Well, I support Tottenham.
Get her a football. Get something small can make a massive difference. You never know, but it's about.
And you don't know how you channel. You don't know how you're going to channel these young people or these young individuals, young brothers, sisters. And I feel like it is having that support system. And I'm so happy that you had such a good support system growing up. That
Definitely.
This is the like I said, this is the outcome. As in, you're a young Indian female from Smethwick, from Birmingham,
Smethwick,
pushing it to like crazy limits. Like when I type in freestyle or freelance footballers, I see all these like, I think I came across like a Latin female, or like majority of them are men. But then I came across you and I was like, I'm so proud to know that you came from Birmingham, you're pushing it and you're doing all these things. It makes you happy to think, you know what, anyone could do it as well if they believe in themselves. Definitely.
I think that's the big part of the puzzle. If you don't believe in yourself, it all will crumble. And I think that's how it starts. And I really hope I'm not the only one. And I hope when I keep training, like, there's so many girls, that's what I love about social media. I see so many girls in India like picking up freestyle football, and I'm like, this is so cool, and I get to see it, and I can get to communicate with them, and
That's
like
so insane.
you get to push each other as well and stuff like that. But in England, like when I meet freestylers, I've not met a South Asian or an Asian.
Hopefully, you can
maybe
see
one
them
guy
soon.
actually, one guy, and that's it. And I'm like, you know what, we need to.
Because one thing that we would talk about is football for South Asian men is tough, right?
Yeah.
Like I couldn't name you a South Asian player. I can barely name you 5 anyway, but I can't name you a South Asian player, let alone trying to name you a female South Asian player or a female player in general. Do you know what I mean? So I think what I see through you is it makes me so happy to know that you're still pushing it for young Asian females as well.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. To
Thank
close
you.
off, the final thing I want to ask you is, what advice would you give to any young female or male Asian players that are looking to go through sports?
I think anyone who loves sports, I would say you just got, it's so cliche, but you got to have fun. You got to have fun, and you have to enjoy it, because I think those highlight careers that we see on TV of footballers, or like the Pepsi shoot, or little things like that, like the highlights, and they're like moments, and you work hard for the moments because you got goals obviously and you want to achieve them. But they're just moments, and you remember them, and they're amazing. But you are spending every single day at the gym. You're spending every single day creating videos. You're spending every single day kicking the football, playing basketball, what it is, and that's where it really happens. So you've got to enjoy that process, and it's something I'm really trying to be conscious as well. I'm not saying that I've clocked it and it's like I am every day trying to think, no, this is it, not the big highlights. Because
those little things make the big things.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can't just live off the big things. You have to do the hard work.
And that's why people say enjoy the process, really. Like, and that's what I agree with. So it's for me consciously making an effort, the process, not the highlights and the. And I think social media is really pushing it the other way, and I'm like, no, we're gonna go this way. Yeah. So that's what I would say.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's okay. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really enjoyed that conversation, guys. I really enjoyed it. Thank you guys for listening. You can like, comment, and subscribe. You can give Kaljit a follow as well. Thank you guys so much for listening, and hopefully you guys will see us in the next episode.
Yes, we can eat now.